when we talk with lots of different customers, and a question that comes back to us quite often is, well, after you go live with a particular implementation, whether it's S4HANA or SuccessFactors or something else, who takes responsibility for SAP Enable Now? And for us, this is always a very interesting question, because you need to have that clear ownership identified so that the organization can invest the right amount of resources, have the correct amount of leadership and buy-in. And it's not just really about creating simulations to keep them maintained and update some content. It's about driving to achieve that business objective, to trying to drive end user adoption of your particular product. But Neil, I'd like to turn to you for a second, and maybe if you could share some of the experiences and the models that you've seen different companies implement.
Yeah, thanks, Emmet. So as you can see on the screen, these are some of the approaches that we've encountered in companies, and we've seen companies take to greater or lesser success. So at the top level, the Center of Excellence, it's a team that's well-resourced, focused on driving user adoption across the whole business and not just for a specific project or implementation. They really proactively engage, and they're resourced to engage with SMEs to maintain the content on a regular basis. And that's built into projects from the start, and there's a consistency of approach. The next best option is the global learning, training, or change management team. That the term can change from client to client. They're responsible for getting the most out of SAP Enable Now. They do the content creation in a central way, and they look after post-go-live maintenance, but they're often not as well resourced as the COE model, and they kind of react to content updates from a change request model or from pushed from the SME, so content can slip into out of date. Unfortunately, the basic approach which we've encountered is a decentralized content maintenance team. These teams are often maintaining the content only for their business unit, the one that they come from, and they do so really in an isolated manner on a project basis. So this can lead to siloed content that rarely gets updated and often doesn't really match in style or approach the other content that the end users within the business engage with.
Brilliant. Thanks very much, Neil. So for me, this is always an interesting point, because when that company is committed to driving end user adoption, they're using SAP Enable Now as a content creation tool, and then they're looking at SAP Companion as that delivery tool for that, to support that learner in the flow of work. When we talk about delivering content in the flow of work, there really is no better tool than SAP Companion. Now, I'm thinking of the poll that we ran, and 40% of our participants here have no previous experience. So SAP Companion, it's a tool that really helps the end users access the supporting inside the application itself. For those more experienced and have been around this before, SAP Companion, it's the replacement term for web assistant or for a desktop assistant previously as well. So what we see is that companies get through an implementation, then they're moving into what we call this walk phase, and then they're starting to implement SAP Companion. They're starting to really focus on the learners in the flow of work. How do we get that content to them?